So I think what I realized at that point was, and I think a lot of people get stuck in this, is they get stuck in a job to get a paycheck. And they're not doing something they love, and they're very unhappy. And I remember that was a turning point in my life where I was like,
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Will Meldman, here with my co-host Brock O'Hearn. How are you doing, Brock?
I'm good.
That's a good smile.
Yeah, I'm good.
We are here with Cory George. Welcome.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm going to pull a Tim Pool. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh, well, my name's Cory George. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I do fitness stuff, so I pick heavy things down. Pick heavy things up.
Everything's
set
down?
it back down.
dude, did you do that
And,
today?
I teach other people how to do it. A little closer to the mic. Sorry, this is my first podcast,
Yeah,
so I
you're
gotta, get the nerves out and jitters out.
We're here to educate you, teach you, and then you're going to go on to have your own successful. That's what we do. We stutter as much as we can to make the people feel comfortable. So from here on out, prepare yourself for a new life in podcasting.
Okay, well, I've worked out with you every day. I'm pretty prepared.
Are you?
Yeah.
You don't look that prepared.
What do you mean?
I mean,
He's ready to fight dragons,
how
bro.
hard did you work out today? Yeah, the dragons part's cool.
Oh, you want to talk about working out today? Actually, this is funny. Prior to the podcast, we were supposed to have a workout just to do like a little prelim thing.
Yeah.
So
You too.
Yeah, us too. So
Yes,
he
yes.
actually confirmed it. He confirmed not only the address of today where we're meeting and also the time and place for tomorrow.
Brocky.
Woke up at 8 and I was like, you know what? He's a big guy. He likes to sleep. I'm going to give him a couple extra minutes. Didn't get a text back, so I called him again. Didn't answer. So I actually trained by myself without my punter, which is one of the biggest sins that you could possibly do for
Did you just
a
call me a
training
punter?
partner. Huh?
What did you just call me?
I don't know.
You said I trained without my punter?
No, partner.
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 Oh.
Partner.
I was like, what are you, the QB and I'm the punter, bro? Like, what are
Got
you?
a speech impediment.
No,
Asshole.
I know. I trained at Gold's this morning. I thought that's where we said we were going.
Wrong gym, wrong location.
Yeah.
Totally got it. My bad.
No, the crazy thing is, I have no idea how, but I slept through my alarm. And I woke up and it wasn't even on. So somehow in my sleep, I turned it off.
Well, it sounds pretty self-explanatory. You slept through your alarm.
Yeah, I did.
What do you mean you don't know how?
Which is, when it comes to, no, I mean, I know, I don't know how I did it, but I did do it. That's what I'm saying. But also,
And
brings
by
me
the
to
way,
my next point of rest is extremely important for the gains, which is why I'm 6'7" and 250 something pounds. And
But that wasn't from genetics. Like you grew.
no, from
You
sleep.
did that protein and you grew.
Yeah. It was from sleep.
I'll give Brock a little defense here. I was up until like 4 a.m. writing, and he had to wake me up at 10 when he woke up.
Yeah. How does it make you feel?
All right. Well, hey, listen.
Or 9:30. 9:30.
All right. Cory George.
Yeah.
My bud, my pal.
Hey, buddy.
How did you get here today?
I took Santa Monica Boulevard. I think I came up Henroy.
Nice.
What's it, Henroy?
I don't
About
know.
a 15-minute drive. Yeah.
Nice.
What else am I supposed to say? How did I get here today?
I wanted to see what you'd say. But no, so tell us about your journey in fitness.
Where do you want me to start? How I started?
How did you start in fitness?
What am I affiliated with now?
Yeah, exactly.
Very
We'll
first
get
weight
to
you
that.
ever picked up.
All
Yeah.
right. There's actually there's
When
really
did you know?
2 points of this story.
Yeah.
So we can talk up. If you don't like the first story, I'll tell you the second one.
I like that.
But the first part of the story, I come from a really small hometown. It's called Grass Valley, California. I think when I left, it was like population 3,200 people.
Oh, wow.
Small hometown. Basically, during the gold rush time, if families were looking for gold, they moved out to this little country bumpkin town. So it's a super small hometown, and it's that type of thing where you kind of marry your high school sweetheart. And so I had just got out of like my first relationship, and I was a little bummed. I didn't do anything with my sports. I made some poor decisions in high school, and I was kind of stuck in my hometown figuring it out after I graduated. And first real big heartbreak that I got. And I think a lot of guys start off in the fitness. I don't know what it is, but you get your first heartbreak and you're like, I'm getting jacked.
Yeah.
And I'm never letting a girl do this to me again. And I was training at one of the local gyms. I think it was a South Yuba club. And I was working out with a couple guys that were a couple years older than me. And, they were big, strong, big football players. And, I just kind of did what they were doing. And it was traditionally now a split. I never thought like rest and rep count and things like that. I just went and moved weights around because I thought that's what we did. And I remember the superset like it was yesterday. It was like the Smith machine tricep dip unders with tricep extensions on the rope. And like
Dude.
we were doing 4 sets of 10 to 12, and it was a superset. Like I'm learning supersets back then. And I remember finished the workout and I went home and I was talking to my mom and I was trying to hang my laundry and I was like putting on the clothes hook and I was hanging it up and I physically couldn't like get my arm up. And it was like the first time that I got that swole pump breakdown. And for whatever reason, like I was hooked on it. I just, from that day on, I wanted to know more. And that was kind of the first initial, like, I want more of this.
For me, it was like putting shampoo or conditioner in the shower. You're like, oh, I can't raise my arms. I love it.
How old were you then?
I was probably 17, 18.
Oh.
Yeah, 17, 18 years
Nice.
old. I mean, I knew about fitness prior to that, but that was like the first initial. I was like, I love that feeling. I want more of it. That's
Yeah.
story one.
That's a
We
great
like story one.
Story one's great. Let's
Story two?
dive into story 2.
So I think there was a lot of like build up to that moment of understanding like this is something that I want to dive into. But my grandpa was a savage. I'll try to send you a photo of him. He's passed away now, rest in peace. But very simple guy, but someone that you just didn't mess with. It was just a large, like you're a large human, Brock. He was a large human.
Yeah.
You know, he was
There's
probably
different kinds of large humans.
different kinds of large human.
Yeah.
6'4", you know, I think when he was 80 years old, he was 6'4", about 270.
Damn.
And like his knuckles were just, I remember every time like shaking his hand, I'm like, oh, what are you? Like, who built you? But he had in his ranch, he had this like quarter-mile loop. And now that I think back, that I was like, he was so ahead of the times of like innovation of how he trained. But he had this like quarter-mile loop, and it was all mud, and it went throughout the woods. And he had built like a squat rack in a tree, and he had built like a pull-up bar in a tree. Like he did all this crazy stuff, and there was like stations all throughout this quarter-mile loop. And he'd wake up every morning. He'd skull his, he'd crack his egg yolks raw. Like he was very traditional, old school, and he would do this loop. And he would do like 4 runs around the quarter-mile loop, and he would hit the stations, and he would do 10 sets of this, 10 sets of this.
Dude.
And every time, and that's what he did every single
What a
day. But
boss.
he was a professional boxer and a bodybuilder back in his day. I'll send you photos.
wow.
It's
Dude,
insane.
please, dude. That sounds
Literally
what
like Rocky and Rocky IV.
Dude, it's what it,
bro.
but
That is one of the coolest. Like,
It gives me chills.
when I
I
turn
love it.
like 50 or 60 max, I want to have a quarter-mile loop and do that because that's
100%.
how much better in shape can you possibly be than that?
Yeah, and it just doesn't. I mean, think about it. No internet. I mean, he didn't have a cell phone. Like he was old
Bro.
school. Like he just knew he needed to move this muscle group, this body part, and he just needed to do it every day and well rounded.
Yeah.
But he did it every day, and I remember going up to him like, as a kid, like I'm not registering a workout. Like I still hadn't pictured that. I just saw this thing that he did, and he looked that big, and I was like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know. So
That's
that's
good.
story 2 where it was, and I actually with my current job now, I actually talk a lot about this story because I always ask, how did you get into fitness? And I was like, I think a big part of it was my grandpa.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Those inspirations are important, right? Like anything that can like get you in, get you that feeling and like,
Yeah.
inspire you.
Yeah, and it's at the time I didn't know it was. Now that I look back, I'm like, damn, like maybe he played a much larger a part of my life than I realized.
Imprinted in your subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have stuff like that as well. And, you know, I still remember there's this moment where this dude and a horrible relationship with my dad. Actually, none now. But when I was a kid, there was a moment when he wasn't around much, but there was one moment where this guy jacked, got out of this lifted Silverado, right? And he had long hair and he's tan and he was just like super fit. And my dad like looked at him and idolized him basically, you know, and he's like, that guy's got to have it all, you know, like type thing. And I remember when I was like 5 years old, that was my idea of somebody who had it all, right? But same thing, like my grandpa, also rest in peace, he was 5'9", tiny little dude, but was obsessed with working out, dude. And there was just all these different influences throughout my life. And then I got to a point where I was like, I just, you know, started working out when I was 15. I was super skinny. I was bullied, made fun of, like just crazy, and was really uncomfortable in my own skin. And then I found working out through school. They had a weight training class at one of the 9 different schools I transferred to or whatever. And they were doing bench press the first day. I'd never benched. I don't even know if I'd done push-ups yet, you know. I'm 15 and a half. And they put 95 pounds on the bar, not even 100 pounds. And it falls on my chest in front of everyone, dude. And everyone makes fun of me, bro. And I was just like, okay. With that first month, I got a bench set at my house and I was just working out nonstop. The first month, because I was so skinny and tall, I was 6'3", 135 pounds. when my metabolism started going even faster, I couldn't sleep because I was so hungry. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. every night. I'd make 2 turkey sandwiches and 2 bowls of Fruity Pebbles, and then I could go back to sleep. That first month, I put on 35 pounds. And so I was only like 170, 165 at that point. But it, like, my shirts filled out different. I was like walking around flexing. I still had a twig arm, right? But I'm like, changed everything for me. I became obsessed, dude. And it was like I wanted to become, when I was a kid, what everyone else I thought looked up to, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, and think of like, that really speaks to like the power of fitness, man. And like, I'm not trying to like get all super deep and sidebar, but like, you know, my main inspiration for fitness was definitely my father, my older brother, playing sports, right? My teammates, stuff like that. And like, for you to not have a strong relationship with your father, and like to think how weak of a person I would feel like without being lucky to have that relationship with my father and that inspiration, right? It's a testament to like your iron will and like how impressive it is, right? But like, sorry, it's total deep sidetrack. I'm just like, it's a crazy powerful thing that's we don't really talk about a lot, but
Yeah.
I think it's shaped
Thanks,
a lot of people who they are today. And I would say without that, like I wouldn't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be doing something that I wouldn't like. And I made a career out of something I love because I one day decided to pick up weights.
It just reminded me, like, your grandfather, how big of an inspiration. Like, imagine without that, right?
For
like,
sure. Yeah. Who knows where I'd be? I mean, I would like to think the same path, but.
Yeah. Well, I think that happens with a lot of people too. Like, imagine a kid seeing Tiger Woods swing for the first time and the way people, idolize him in that sense, or, big baseball players, football players, whatever. It could be big businessmen, right? Like, I want to be the best businessman ever, and then they surpass them someday. It's like you find those tiny little influences that kind of imprint us when we're young, right? But then turn into our life. And I'm the same too. Like, dude, I've been injured. I've gotten sick. I've had moments where I couldn't work out, and to me, it felt like a loss of identity. I don't know what to do with myself because I feel so connected, and it grounds me, and it like gets my mental so clear, and I'm so focused, and I feel more energized. I feel like I have everything that I need comes from training, to make me who I am and how I show up in the world. And I don't know, man. I like, if I don't have that, it's 100% shaped my career as well. Like my first, any of my first gigs, I did some fitness modeling for a while and acting as well. Like it opened up every door. And then even to the point of, especially when you're feeling good and, you've been training hard and you look good and you look better, people treat you different. They treat you completely different.
There is like a weird unspoken level of like respect that you get from someone else that's in the same field and industry. It's like you're a part of something bigger that you don't realize. Obviously Instagram is such a powerful thing. Everyone's on it every day, and I think it was literally this morning or yesterday. I was scrolling through, and The Rock had said something, and I was like, it's so true. He talks about how like without fitness every day, like he's this ship that's moving through water, and he talks about like anchoring, and like when he gets his workout done, like it anchors himself for the rest of the day, where sets him in place, and then he can do what else he needs to get done. And without that anchor, like he somewhat feels lost. And I was like, it's so true. Like if I don't get it could be 20 minutes of just dabbling or something, but as long as it's somewhat inconsistency with my routine, I feel like I've set myself up like a foundation for the rest of my day. And without it, I do somewhat feel lost, or it just consumes my head.
That was what it was for me when I was young, and I had no job. I had no money. I had no idea where I wanted to go in life. It was before I committed to, becoming an actor and go chasing my dreams. It was, if I had done nothing else, as long as I worked out, I knew I did one positive thing to move me forward. And that was like my, okay, keep going. And it was the discipline of it, of just, this is the one sport in the world, that if you cheat, if you eat shitty, if you miss workouts, it shows. You can't hide any of that. So when someone sees that, they know, especially the ones that train often, and they don't discredit the work that you're putting in, they're like, they know how hard it is and how much work it takes. And yes, some people maybe have a little bit of a better genetic, setup than other people. I don't know what word I was looking for there, but it's the same thing as 10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell. It's like, you can have people that have, natural innate gifts and abilities, and they're talented, out the gate. But then if you have someone who at the end of the, spectrum, if the people that keep working hard eventually surpass the natural gifted people, that's just the way it goes. It all comes down to work ethic, how much work you put in, how much time you put in, how much energy and focus and how much discipline you have. It all adds up, and there's no way around it.
Discipline, you know anything about discipline, right?
Yeah,
Don't you have an application that's all based on discipline?
It's coming. Okay. It's coming.
There's I think too, like there's something contagious about self-respect, right? And like if you walk into a room and see you guys, you can instantly see it like, oh wow, they have respect for themselves and their time. They take care of themselves. And I think that's not to say if you're out of shape and don't look like you guys, you don't have self-respect, but you don't see it immediately. Like I could have a conversation with someone who's not in great shape, but like maybe they're putting their 10,000 hours into like writing this amazing novel and doing all this, right? And then you're like, oh, okay. But you don't see it right off the bat initially with this like primal sense of like contagion from self-respect, if that makes sense.
I can't quote this word for word because I don't want to mess it up. But Gunnar Peterson is a big mentor and a colleague of mine now. He was just on a recent podcast and he said something that I loved. And he was just talking about how fitness is like the most equitable place in the world. And it can be the most fairest place in the world. Yeah. By simply what you put in is what you get in return. Yeah. I love that. Because it's so true. When you're doing this, is as much effort as you're willing to put into this is what your return will be. Now, I don't know what that return will be, but you will have something. You'll
have a return, yeah. And then you learn how your body works and then what actually ends up working or not for you. Because some people react differently to different, cardiovascular,
big words.
You know what? I've got a couple in there, dude. A couple in the repertoire.
It's pure meritocracy, right? Because I like how you said that about, the returns, because in like an office setting, right? Maybe the person doing the least amount of work gets the promotion for different reasons or something, right? Sure. And it's like, it could be totally different and mess with like the unity or whatever, but you're totally right. It's a cool thing to think about.
Yeah, I liked it.
I say there's 2 points that I want to go and make on this moment too, because you mentioned, a couple mentor people. Like I used to look up to, and still do, even though, rest in peace, Greg Plitt, and I used to follow his stuff, and he would do these videos of him going in the gym before everyone else is awake, like 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and he said one time that always stuck with me. He's like, I go in and I just absolutely, and this is not a quote for quote, but he goes in, absolutely kills it as hard as he possibly can. He sets himself up for the rest of his day, and he said, I just did the hardest part of my day. Yeah. Nothing else is going to be harder than this, so everything else is easy from here on out. And that's how he goes and gets the mindset to, ground and, set himself up for success immediately right out of the gate. And that's one thing I love. And then there's this Aristotle quote where he says, we are what we habitually do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We are our habits. We are every little decision we make. If we're going to go eat crappy at night, and set ourselves up for failure to put on a little more weight when we're trying to cut, right? Or if you're going to skip out on the cardio. Like the difference between me and my dream physique right now is literally me getting up and doing fasted cardio for an hour every morning.
Also committing to your 8:30 workout with me.
Got him.
Well, I'll see you at 4:30 for the real workout.
I'll be up writing.
But you're exactly right. I was so bummed, dude. I can't believe. I went to bed late. But
it really is one of the biggest sins of bro code.
Yeah.
When
I know you've done it to me so many times too. So
never ever.
So many times. Never. We're on Cory's time. That's what we're gonna call it.
When we do that, let's post a photo next to each other. People decide.
And then when they'll say like, "Oh yeah, Brock's a little bit ahead, so he can spare some mistakes," they'll look at the picture and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Cory's down there. Yeah, we see."
Wow.
Who's ditched who more?
Cory 100% has ditched me more.
Oh,
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But he's a busy guy. He travels all over the world all the time, dude. Where were you last?
Oh, I thought you said dissed, so let me go back on ditched.
Ditched.
Yeah, Brock likes to work out at the crack of noon.
Crack of noon? Yeah. I like to get it. No.
More of like the early get it done Greg Pitt type guy.
No, you're definitely not. Okay, you're definitely not. We train at the same time almost all the time.
Okay, great. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's why you're wearing a medium. I'm wearing a double XL.
This is a triple XL, and yours is baggy.
Prove it.
It's a double. I'm just kidding. It's on there somewhere. It
It says woman's.
Dude, that
large.
fucking bicep right now is
It's
out of
large.
control, bro.
What was it?
Jesus.
He's got some good buys on him too.
Oh yeah, I'm hidden though.
Yeah.
I like to discreet.
I'm surrounded by fucking
Neat. How does it make you feel?
Little meat sandwich,
dude.
I mean, that's pretty sweet.
dude.
You know-
tell
Well, come
you-
in shapes and sizes.
Yo, check us out.
For 5'10", 175, not bad.
Well,
Dude.
settle flex, okay.
Yeah, right. Me and Will trained together for a month, like a couple years ago.
In the Hollywood,
Bro,
yeah.
dude. In 1 month, his arms got bigger than mine.
Really?
It went from
Oh, you're one of those.
bro. He puts on muscle. Like his dad, dude. His brothers. Like, well, at least your older brother. I'm sure Max is going to be right behind
Massive,
that,
yeah.
dude. They get jacked so quick.
So I respect
Super
the
high testosterone.
I respect the fact that you're not in the industry to make us look bad. So I appreciate
No,
that.
no,
That's
yeah.
a very humble thing that you're doing for us.
Dude, my dad, like, he'll brag about this all the yeah, thanks. My dad will brag about this all the time. He, like, for his weight and height, I think he was like 5'10", 165, and he put up like 365.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
set like the Pac-10 thing at Stanford
No,
back
dude.
in like when was it? 70s, early 80s,
Is your dad's like 62, 63 right now?
mid 60s.
Mid 60s?
It's the most validated thing. In
I was
the
like,
code.
fuck yeah.
Bro,
How
he
much
still
do you
has a
bench?
freaking
Yeah,
8-pack.
yeah.
His dad still has like an
Seriously?
8-pack, bro. I swear, dude. It's
Wow.
he's a phenom.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to.
He's
just,
also one of the most successful people I've ever met in my life. So
No,
to
no.
balance that out is like, dude, legend.
really.
Legend.
He's like crazy about the routine, right? Like I'm sure you are with like working out and all that. It's like no, I mean up at 8, like working up at 8
Take our
every
shirts off
morning,
right now.
you know, before work, right? So like I think, like you said, the habits, right? Like him and my older brother are way more like routine based than I am. I'm more of like the creative fluctuation of like just live and do.
For sure.
But like, yeah.
I wanna-
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny to hear him like brag about it still. It's funny.
Dude, it's
How
amazing,
how
bro.
old is he?
Mid 60s.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
it's amazing, bro. It's inspiring, to be honest.
Yeah.
So fitness has been a major part of your life, your career now. Where has it taken you in your career, and how did you get to this point? 'Cause-
I couldn't, and I just had this conversation. I was like, you know, I think you always want more. Like you earn one level and then you want more, and then you earn that level and you just want to keep going. And this last like 6 months, I've had this massive, crazy travel schedule with work, and it's been amazing. But it's also been like this realization that I'm fucking pretty appreciative of what I've got, and I could have never imagined to be in this position. You know, but I think one of the things I focused on is nowadays you scroll online and you see instantaneous results, and I think it fucks with you because you think, well, I'm doing something wrong because I don't have that. And it's like, well, you don't know the backstory of what that person did to get to that point. And so I've really tried to put my mindset as just like one path at a time. And I don't think one path necessarily is the right decision, but you know, you might have 6 laid out and they all will come to an intersection at one point, but just keep focusing on that one little section. And in fitness, before I was even training, I've had every odd job known to mankind. And one of my first jobs when I was going to school out in Long Beach was I did carpet restoration and like emergency flooding. Wow. And the reason why I did that in conjunction to a few other things is because I got emergency hours. So I can work super late nights, get double pay, and I paid for my schooling. I don't have any bills. And, you know, I did this job, so I had the odd end hours, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. But I knew I was on the right path because I was making money, I was able to go to school, and I still was able to have fun and do my extracurricular activities. So I was like, I'm doing everything that I want to do. And there is a story of how this transitioned into training, but basically that happened. I decided to become a trainer. Went and got my cert, started off at 24 Hour Fitness, got made fun of because that was kind of that's not where you want to be. And I was like, well, it's where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a job, I've got secure hours, I'm getting clients, I'm making money, and I'm learning. So I had that, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing this really well. Maybe I should do this at home, and maybe I should train clients at home. And then it kind of transitioned to that. And as I was transitioning that, I met a client that was opening a gym. And then I helped him open up a gym. And he's like, hey, I need to introduce you to this guy because he's opened up multiple gyms, and he's got this new sales concept that you should learn. That's killing the game right now. And it's actually one of the first persons I mentored over for sales with training was Alex Hermosi. How did I say that? I don't want to butcher that name. Hermosi, is that how you say it? Didn't know who he was at the time. You should look him up. He's a G. I mean, he's all over the internet now, but the way he speaks and clarifies things with fitness is just phenomenal. Now he's more of like a philosopher of life. But at the time, he was opening up these gyms and he taught me this model. So I learned from that. And then that got word that I was working with someone like this, and then this other person contacted me. Like I was bouncing all over the place to where I am today. And if I looked back and redid it, I couldn't tell you how or what that happened. And now I'm in this place where I've got a dream job. I get paid to teach people how to work out myself, and travel the world.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
What else more would you want?
Yeah.
So I'm just very grateful for how I got here. But again, like, I don't think there was one certain path that got me here. I just focused on one thing at a time. And before I know it, 31 years old and traveling the world and teaching people how to work out. Just couldn't have never imagined that.
Dude, yeah, I think that's a great lesson too. And like, you know, the early stuff you mentioned, like sometimes a job is just a job, and like you're doing it for a goal in support of your long-term passion, right? And then now you're fucking killing it, doing exactly what you love, and like, you know, like you said, traveling the fucking world.
It's cool. And it is. And everyone's like, I was like, dude, one of my first jobs was a barista. I made coffee. I was awful at it. I was like, I'd look back and I was like, I must have ruined so many people's days. Like, I could never get the ingredients right with like people coming in with
orange mocha chai lattes.
Like, that's orange. I'll put a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and you got someone else asking for a coffee. I was like, you actually learn to have a much more respect for baristas.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their special orders that come in. They come in slightly grumpy. They need their coffee right now. They're typically late for work. Like, respect that job.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had every known job on this earth, and it all led me to this, which is insane.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
So where you're at now is a little company called F45.
Yeah.
What is F45?
My elevator pitch, it's F45 is functional 45 minutes. So it's a 45-minute functional structured workout. Open every day of the week. There's about, let's say 1,800 plus locations in about 40 plus different countries.
Wow.
And so the whole spiel is, you know, it's 7 days a week. You have options to come Monday, Wednesday, Friday for your cardio sessions, Tuesday, Thursday for resistance. Saturday's like a hybrid, so it's a combination of both. And then Sundays fluctuates from strength to cardio to a hybrid. So it's designed as like the one-stop shop for someone to come in for their fitness needs. You know, and it's a very good entry-level place for someone that's maybe never set foot in a gym. You know, there's no mirrors in the room for no egos. You know, no mirrors, no egos. You know, there's 2 trainers on staff to help facilitate someone that's coming in. So, you know, one can conduct the class while one's working with maybe someone that's, you know, a little more on the entry level. It's catered to all walks of life, and that was one of the things that when I first started, it's like 6.5 years ago now, I think. When I first walked into a studio, you know, I saw that. I just saw different ranges of ages and backgrounds. It was just all walks of life working together in this movement patterns, and I was like, this is brilliant. And, you know, and I think for a lot of trainers that when they actually look at the program structure, they think, well, I wish I was able to think of something like this and monetize this, because as a one-on-one trainer, like, you're getting paid as many hours as you can work throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, people come to you; they don't come for someone else. So I know a lot of people build teams and branch out, but for the most part, I was training 8 to 10 plus people a day. Like,
oh my God,
training, and then you start realizing like, oh, there's a cap to that money-wise. Like, how do I advance this? How do I get more for my buck? And I was never an online guy. Like, I love working with people. I love being in person. I think that's where the real magic happens. And I'm good at selling energy and my experience, and I just couldn't do that online. So, you know, you have to figure out how do I make more? And group training was that avenue for me.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, Cory is loved all over the world. I've seen the videos. I've heard the stories. I've had people DM me. Generally,
it's pretty easy to see. The guy
Is it the shirt?
It's the shirt. It's the shirt. Yeah, it's the shirt. But no, it really is like, you know, they want an introduction to you just because, you know, they'll go do these classes, these group classes, and you're on the screens. They see you go around all the different F45. What do I call it?
No, I mean,
classes. They go to all the other 45 studios.
Context, yeah. There's screens in the classes that are dictating the movement patterns throughout whatever today's workout is. And I'm that little blue GIF, is what people say, is I've got this blue shirt and it looks like a little GIF, and I'm basically doing the movements and people help replicate that. So the beauty of that it really does come down to the trainer to provide the experience, but everything else is laid out for them. And then the trainer, all they have to do is probably one of the most fun parts of being a trainer is they don't have to program, they don't have to write new things, they don't have to have those consultations. Like, let the tech do its work, and then I just get to be a trainer and fix and coordinate.
Yeah.
Inspire, motivate.
Correct. Yeah. Do the most important things of a trainer.
Yeah.
Be a coach, help people.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
hell
takes
yeah.
that whole element out and exactly of,
sure.
of thinking and designing the program, making sure it's right and all that stuff. You take that out because it's already good, it's already handled, and then you come in and you say, "Oh, we can work on your form a little bit. Oh, you need a modification. Let's do this." So on and so forth. So you give them a better experience through and through.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I've done the classes; they work.
You did a couple classes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Taking you. You
Yeah.
did well.
Huh?
That's a lot of body to move around.
It is. Yeah, and
A lot of body to move around.
I think it was before I realized my meniscus was torn and I was still rocking in there. So
True.
It-
You did well. I wouldn't have
I
known.
appreciate it. Appreciate it. Wait. I was waiting on that membership, but it never came through.
It did. You just never showed up.
No, it never came through.
Okay. Well, you check your email.
Fight.
Check your email, not your Instagram.
I must be
dude.
getting bigger because this chair keeps sinking naturally.
Oh, same.
Yeah, it just keeps going down, huh?
You haven't noticed, but I've been using my caps to pick it up. I'm getting little cap raises in. I missed it yesterday.
So you got to work out everywhere you can. Man, do you have any dreams, any long-term vision, goals for yourself? Are they all incorporated with fitness, or do you have anything outside of that you'd ever want to do?
Back to my original, I've had this like sudden realization with this last travel that just learn to be more happy with what you have. So I do have goals and aspirations. Obviously, I want to buy more property, or I want to see different places of the world. There's things like that. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy and content with what I have, and appreciate the routine and what I'm gifted. And I get to wake up, train, I get to help people to train, change people's lives. I can afford healthy food. I can eat pretty much what I want when I want. I'm pretty grateful for where I'm at in my life. And so whatever next chapter happens, I'm open for it, but I'm just appreciating the now.
The power of now, dude. Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
That's what life is all about, man. That's the next step in human evolution is the consciousness awakening through the power of now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I had one of those.
That's what I believe.
No,
Yeah,
I think
100%.
I just listen. Everyone's always like, what's the next thing? Especially in LA, you'll go out to a specific party and it's the coolest thing you've ever seen. You're there for 18 minutes. 18 minutes, what a specific number. But yeah, you're there for 18 minutes, and then you're checking the phone and it checks like, what's next? Where else do I have? And it's like, just enjoy this.
Yeah. 100%. That's my first time. I was sleeping on couches on and off for years. My first time getting an apartment, and then I got a really great job. I booked my first movie, then I booked my first TV show. Saw those paychecks coming in. I was living a fast-paced life, always going, working. And after the first year, I'd furnished my entire apartment. I got the penthouse, and I'd been sleeping on couches, and then all of a sudden I'm in a penthouse with restoration hardware decked out. It was amazing. Yeah, exactly. It was amazing. And I'm sitting here. It took me a year to just sit down and be like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
One, I did it, but two, this is the first time I let myself be present and realized, one, how far I've come, what I've accomplished, and two, my life is different now.
Sure.
I changed everything.
Yeah.
And it was just this massive wave of gratitude that I've continually tried to embody throughout my entire life. And that was 7-8 years ago now. And I'm still sitting here like, dude, if the 5-year-old version of me could see where I'm at now and doing what I'm doing, all those things I ever dreamed about, even 5 years ago, where I'm at and what I'm doing. And it's like, having that gratitude, dude, is just it's a game changer when it comes to, it doesn't matter how much or how little you have. If you have gratitude, it changes your perspective on everything.
And I also think it's the type of person, I always saw those quotes that are going on you are at that place you are now 5 years ago when you said, oh, I wonder, I want to be there in 5 years. You're at that place now. And, speaking of first moved to LA 10 years ago, I got a call from a buddy saying, hey, I've got space. Do you want, I know you've always wanted to move to Southern California. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yes, done. I'm doing it. And I lived in Chico, California. I was doing my thing out there. And I was like, yes, that's where I want to be. I know I need to be by the beach. I was born on the ocean. That just always felt like home. And I literally the next day got out of the place I was, packed whatever I could. I had a 94 Jeep Cherokee. Saved up all my money. I bought this thing. fucking love the thing. Ended up totaling it, but love this thing. Like, I'd still have it today. Packed whatever I could fit, the rest of it left to my friends, and I drove down to Southern California, coming down the Grapevine with my, bed top to the roof with the bungee cord and a couple ropes, and I'm holding it, and I remember coming down, I was like, yeah, this is it. Moved into a garage in Seal Beach, California, and I lived with 3 other people in a garage that was separated by sheets.
3 other people.
3 other people in a garage, no toilet, no access to the house, so peanut bottles, and we recycle them at the end. We have the showers, we use like the public thing. But like I always look back at that and I think like, what do you need to make yourself happy? And I was like, what made me happy was the people that I was surrounding myself with, like the product of my environment. I was with 2 or 3 of my best friends in this garage. Like, I mean, I paid $70 a month for rent, which I was scrounging. I was working at GNC at the time. That was my GNC job. I was going to Golden West in junior college. I was playing volleyball and I was playing football.
Oh, wow.
I just did whatever I possibly could. I just accepted a yes. I remember I rode a beach cruiser about 10 miles total a day out to the Westminster Mall in GNC, which if you've ever been in the Westminster Mall, it's something special. Worked there, but I look back and I'm like, dude, we wake up, we would skimboard and surf every day, showered on the beach. We split this breakfast burrito, and in time, Buddy got a managerial job at Chipotle. So we had like the hookup with free foods, right? Chipotle burritos. Shopped at 7-Eleven down the street. Trained every day. Like I had a little weight. I had this wall where all my subs, and so I was working at GNC, and I'd always take. Sorry, GNC. I'd always take like the expired product because you just throw it out. I
mean,
duh.
Yeah.
So I was the sup god. I just had all this.
God.
But dude, I had my little TV, my Nintendo 64, 2 or 3 of my best friends, and like I look back at it and I still think that was probably the happiest I've ever been. And I literally made enough money to scrape by. But fuck the things that you would do because you weren't like all exposed to everything. I had to be creative and think of things like baseball at the park, rugby. Like I remember one time, like every Saturday we'd sit out on like a parking or right at the side lot on the sidewalk and we'd bring beach chairs. We split a 30 rack, put this on, honk and we drink. Like we would do that and we were the happiest kids ever. And it was just so simple.
Yeah.
Big question.
Yeah.
What N64 games?
Oh, dude. I mean, obviously, if you're with multiple people, it's obviously Mario Kart or 007.
And Smash Bros.
Smash Bros? Okay, so I know this is going to be big. I never got into it. I know. I still like the game, but 007 it took everything.
GoldenEye and Mario Kart.
You played Slaps, or you play Rockets, or you
Rockets
played,
at Complex Rockets.
Yeah. Natasha. I was always Natasha. How could you beat? Like that was the best ever.
Yeah.
Like literally,
that's It's one of it's kind of like what you just said, where we were exposed to less, and now we have the most insane, virtual reality. We have the most crazy games in the world.
You can do whatever you want to do right now.
Yeah.
You have access to anything.
It's almost too much in the sense of exactly what you're saying when you're sitting at a party in like 18 minutes, you're like checking your phone, trying to see what's next, what's going on. It's stepping it back because I had the same thing with my buddy where one of the jobs where I met one of my best friends, we worked at Abercrombie. He was the manager and I was just, the model is what they call him. Didn't really make more than $10 an hour and I had to breathe in perfume for freaking 8 hours a day.
And we're outside at Hollister.
Yeah.
Welcome to the beach.
But we became best friends. I hated that job, dude. Like it gave me headaches being in there. I was always working long hours and barely making any money. So he got fired as they had 3 managers. He got fired as one of the managers and they had some really strange managers come in and they were just like, one of the guys was just the weirdest dude ever. I'm like, I don't want to be around this guy. It makes me uncomfortable. And the girl manager was like hitting on me the whole time, but she was creepy, bro.
Naturally.
Like whatever. It was a strange situation. So he was the only reason I stayed there was because of him. They fired him. I literally changed my clothes. I was like, I'm going to lunch. I changed my clothes into my normal clothes so I didn't have to wear the Abercrombie clothes.
Oh, for sure.
And I walked out and never came back. Well, we came back about 2-3 hours later. They couldn't get a hold of me because his phone froze up. And so we had to go to the Apple store, which is right across. And then the manager saw us walking over to the Apple store and he's like, where'd you go? And I'm like, and I just never came back. But we lived off of his unemployment is what I'm saying. Every 2 weeks we got $600 and we literally ate PB&Js and bagels. We bought 1 tub of weight gainer shake. we'd go, get Sailor Jerry and go to the beach all day, and just like we lifted, we worked out, and we ate, and
that was probably one of the happiest you've ever been.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely reminds me of college for sure. But dude, what you said earlier about like just living in the now and doing as much as you possibly can, right? Like this is Los Angeles, man. Yeah. Like there's so many things to do. And like I went with a couple friends to Morgan Wallen at SoFi the other night. Thank you, Matt Killen, for the hookup there. But I could take Penny to Runyon. I could go see the Hollywood sign, right? Like you can go see IMAX 70 millimeter theaters early before the rest of the country. There's so much to do here. And like, it really is an inspiring place. And like, all you have to do is move your feet.
For sure.
And like happy feet, right? Like I love that term because it's like, if you're thinking of staying in or not doing something, just go fucking do it, dude.
Yeah.
And like, cause that reminds me of, back in the day in San Francisco, there wasn't one day after school where we didn't play baseball at the park, football at the park, like do something like that. Sure, we'd play like Halo after that when we were tired and like eat Eggos and Cheetos and do all that. But like, it was always something fun and active, and like, it makes you feel so good to get out and just go do shit, right? And like, obviously I'm older now, I just turned 33, but like, I try to do it as much as possible. And it's like, great to hear.
Do you find yourself though, like I'm asking you a question now? Do you find yourself though? It's just curious because it's been relevant in my life right now. Do you find that happiness difference with the people you are surrounded with? So like the people that you may associate with because it's business or it's work, and you kind of need to make that relationship steady, or is there a big difference with the people that you genuinely like being around? Like, do you notice the difference there?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
Because some events, sure, are like, I'm going to connect, it's a work thing, or a date or whatever, or like just with friends, just to enjoy, right? I like to live life in that middle ground, yeah, where you try to treat everything like it's the same if you can, and it kind of levels everything out. The stress levels of like work get lowered because it's like work friends, right? Or like, like JJ Dudum was on earlier, the pod a couple weeks ago, and he was kind of saying like, he sells real estate, and he's basically saying whether someone buys, whether they don't buy, I don't care. Everyone's the same to me. And like, I just go out and have fun. And he truly, genuinely embodies that. Yeah. Of like, he is one of the most fun, gregarious people to golf with in the entire effing world. And like, I try to emulate that, but it's hard. But you just like treat everything like it's the same and just go enjoy, right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
I think a lot of people get stuck with groups of people because, especially like the influencer world can be toxic, but it also could be an incredible thing. I mean, that's how I met you. Yeah. Like the internet and social media has multiple different avenues that you go, but I think a lot of people stick around certain groups because they're trying to get something or help them elevate something. And I don't know if it's my upbringing or what it is, but I've always known like that's not really the crowd that I want to be around. I don't feel happy when I'm like that. And I've got a very small group of friends, and fuck you and I can go work out for 2.5 hours and bullshit and make fun of each other the whole time and go eat. And that was a great part of my day. Yeah. And it was something so simple because I like being around you and I like being around that close group of people. And I think we've lost, I know it sounds very philosophical, but I think we lost touch with it a little bit.
Yeah, but it's, back to your point of the influencer part, like I came into LA really as an influencer. I was blowing up early before it was even like really a thing yet. And I was around all those top influencers now, right? But it was that same thing where like it didn't make my soul happy. It didn't make my heart happy to be around these people that I knew, head, mind, body, all that stuff. To be around that because I could feel everyone's energy. And I'm like, you're just using each other to like get followers. And this isn't a real genuine friendship. Like I want to have fun. I want to enjoy myself. I want to be around people that inspire me and that motivate me. And I can do the same for them. And we push each other to be better. And it's not like I'm using you because you're hot right now or this is that, like it wasn't enticing to me. And that's one of my favorite things about film and TV is like you get on a film set and there's all these people that have worked so hard to get to this point, and some of them have fallen into it more or less, whether it's in their family, their friends, whatever it is. Some people have worked their whole life, traveled the country, sacrificed everything to get to where they want to go, just to be on set as a PA, you know, and be around it. But like, you get around some of these people, and especially the sets, like, I mean, Tyler Perry's set's one of them. Danny McBride's set is one of them. There's like a whole list of ones where they built groups of friends that work hard and they love it and they're motivated, they're creative.
Adam Sandler,
yeah, I haven't been on his set yet, but I look forward to the day I do. But it's one of those things where you're like, I do this because I love it, and I'm surrounded by people who love it too, and we appreciate and respect it the same, but then we get to have fun the whole time. And that makes it rewarding. That makes it fun because we're doing what we want to do, what some of us feel called to do. Some of us, this is our biggest passion, our dream is to give that back to other people, to entertain people on that level. And for me, it's like, that's why one of the reasons I love it so much. It's like the people I'm around, the conversations we have, you know, we're not sitting here pushing pencils and, you know, talking about what clothes people are wearing. We're like, what if we put an explosion in the sky that changes the entire ethos of the world, and blah, blah, blah. It just goes on. You can get as crazy and weird as you want, bro. And it's like, there's no limit to it. And like, that's fun to me. That's exciting. It's different. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. And sometimes it's scary because there's no real technically security in that. But at the same time, it's exciting because I can fly, well, not now because of the SAG strike, but it could have been before the strike, that I could fly and be in Milan filming a movie for 6 months. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And you want that to happen, but at the same time, it's like a lot of big shifts and changes you have to be open to all that. But it's just, there's nothing more rewarding than being around people that love something and the same thing as much as you do, you know? And then you guys, and there's just a commonality, and it changes the experience.
Tonight, going to a comedy event with a bunch of people I work with and that have like become friends over the last 5 months in the comic book space. Oh, and it's like multimedia.
Down.
Okay. Dude,
you can be
I'm just saying, if you invite me to something and I show up,
right. No, but like
one time.
We've been working together for like 5 months on comic books, and they're all amazing people, like-minded and fun, and, you know, a lot of respect for them. But it's a work thing that turned into a friend thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Happy Gilmore, by the way, too.
Yeah,
100%.
I just quoted that for the rest of my life. But and that's back to the question when he said, like, what do you see yourself doing in the future? And I was like, I hope I'm doing the same thing. You know, and that's the thing. I get to see F45 differently to a lot of people. You know, I've been to probably about 1,200 studios in close to about 30 different countries. Like this last trip that I talked about, I had this like realization. It's gone for a total about 5 months, but I went to like 7 or 8 different countries, and I went to probably 250 different studios within that time frame. And it's just, no matter what corner of the earth I'm in, F45 has curated this group of people that it's just, I can't explain it. You know, you truly have to experience I'm going to say this, certain F45s. We're working on those, but the ones that have really captured the meaning of group training, never seen anything like it, ever. I've never been a part of something like that, and I love it. And it's like, I could keep doing this because I thrive off it, and I want more, and I want to teach the other studios that maybe haven't gotten to that level yet. How do we get here, and how do we break this down? Because when they're at a specific space, you want to be there. Yeah. You want to do something that 90% of the population doesn't do and are uncomfortable doing. And now we've created a space where it's like people come in fanatically every single day, twice a day. Like it's insane. Yeah. It really is. I fucking love it.
It's special, man.
It is, and it's my living. I get to get paid to do that. Like it's hard to like really rationalize that thought process. You know?
Yeah, that's just a testament of you being in the right place, because there's a reason you're in that position, and that it works and it makes sense for you, because like look how excited and passionate you are about that.
Well, there was one job. That kind of an offense story. I'll try not to tail it too much, but how I kind of always was in fitness, but like the day that I was like, okay, I'm done. I need to start pursuing this now. I worked for this carpet restoration company. I happened to work with like my best friend, and our territories were Compton, Long Beach, Inglewood, like some weird areas at times. But you know, they always paid in cash. Our customers paid in cash, and that's why my boss always put us in those territories. And I went to one spot. And it was like midday on a Thursday. Pull up to this spot, and like, unholding the hose and walking it in the house and putting it in the room, setting back. You know, it's fucking 110 degrees outside and turning on this thing. It just smells like shit. And I'm thinking in my life, I'm like, this is an interesting chapter, but you know, we're here. It's working. And I remember going in and there was something that we were cleaning up that was, just say there was a lot of bad energy. And I won't get into the details. And I remember, you know, looking at my partner being like, holy shit, like, what are we doing? And, you know, so we do the job, we get back in the car and we kind of both take a couple deep breaths and we're like, whoa, that was interesting. Kind of put yourself in perspective. And literally that day, my flip phone, boom, popped it open. And I have an iPhone then, boom, popped up my flip open. I had 24-hour fitness saved in my phone, called them. And I said, hey, I'm Cory, blah, blah, just moved from the area. Like, I'm looking to become a trainer. Do you have openings? She's like, yeah, can you come in this weekend? Bring in your cert. And I was like, oh, shit. I don't have that yet. But I was like, all right, hey, like, I'm out for the next couple months, but like, can we schedule this date? I'm very interested. And she's like, that's fine. So we booked in a date that day, signed up online, took my first, you know, accreditation, got my first cert within that first month and a half, and went in and I never looked back. And that was like my first time of training. And that's what I stuck with.
I love that story.
It was like, you know, I look back, I do inductions where new franchisees come in, and that's like my first intro. I talk about this story. So I think what I realized at that point was, and I think a lot of people get stuck in this, is they get stuck in a job to get a paycheck, and they're not doing something they love, and they're very unhappy. And I remember that was a turning point in my life where I was like, it wasn't that I was unhappy, but I just knew like, this isn't me. This isn't what I'm meant to be doing right now. Like, you need to make a dramatic change. And I took action and I made the change. I literally, if I didn't make that call that day, who knows what I would have been doing. You know, well, I picked up the phone. I called what I wanted to do and I made it happen. And I made sure it happened. You know, it was like I had that appointment on my date and I was like, I'm not missing this day. This is like the turning point in my life. And I think a lot of people get real complacent doing what they're doing because maybe they're making a little cash, but like, are you happy doing it? Like, do you actually love doing that? And you see that in training all the time now. A lot of trainers just become trainers because they're fit. But I was like, but do you love working with people? Do you want to help somebody? Or do you just doing it because you look good?
Yeah.
Right?
Or it's a paycheck, yeah. I think exactly what you're saying. I've seen so many people get complacent where they're at because of the paycheck, and then they look back at their life 20, 30 years. I've seen so many interviews, man. 20, 30 years later, 40 years later, and they're like, I wish I took the risk. You know, I wish I went and chased the dream that I wanted to do because the money's not worth it. The life wasn't worth it just to be comfortable, you know? And there really is no security in that.
Yeah.
You know, that company that you work for might be a multi-billion-dollar company, but it can go bankrupt tomorrow. And then thousands of people are out of jobs, you know? So it's like, we're here, we got one go around. My whole philosophy too is do what you love, you know, and do,
love and do what you will.
It's
love and do, is that Hannah?
No.
Okay, he does it every morning.
There's two things I promised my mom. One, no backflips drinking. And then two,
That's a good one, actually.
two, no tattoos.
I think I've only done backflips when I was drinking.
And I've already broken one of the rules. So.
But dude, like,
Where's your tattoo?
No.
The other thing is like, even because call it like luck or intuition or whatever, you found exactly what you were like meant to do with that one phone call. But let's say someone isn't in a position like that, right?
Sure.
There's still a job that you can enjoy more, right?
Sure.
Like in a field or an industry that you're more interested in.
Yeah.
There's always something like that. So like you can always make a change that is better in a better direction, even if you don't end up in exactly what the end goal is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I always, like, I didn't finish college. I went to school. I figured out what I wanted to do. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. And now I'm here 10 years later and I'm doing exactly what I said I was doing.
Good call.
But, you know, during school, though, during that process I was going there, I think there's an element where you're figuring shit out. Like, I remember growing up, I was like, my options are an astronaut, fireman, a policeman, whatever was a local job. Like, I was like, those are my options. But then you go to school and you're like, holy shit, there's software engineer, there's acting, there's, you know, designing. I was an interior designer for a major I went for a little bit. I was like, there's so much that you can do and you're exposed to. And now, like with online, like you've got thousands of different opportunities and job and career paths, but I think people go for the most shiniest ones that they think this is going to be the biggest bang for a buck. And again, it's like a lot of the people that you see, like that's their passion. And there's a whole backstory that you're not seeing where they've gotten to that point. you know? And it's like, I think acting, I'm not a huge actor, I don't know, but I hang out with Mark enough, and I'm like, dude, that guy's been doing this for, you know, he's got these big movies for the last 10 years, but he's been doing it for 30 plus years.
10,000 hours.
Like, yeah, he didn't just get a role. Like, he's been doing this since he was 17 years old. But now that you see him in these big films, and you're like, yeah, well, I could be doing that. I'm like, yeah, well, put the work in.
And even he started in music and modeling, right? So like that's another example of like.
That's why I bought Calvin Klein underwear.
Yeah, totally. I'm wearing it right now.
I'm not, but I could be.
Right.
But it's taking that opportunity, you know, like he blew up, right? And he could have maybe got 1 or 2 films and totally blown the whole thing, but he changed. At least from my perspective, it looks like he has a work ethic and
the guy's insane.
Exactly. So he went and still took the opportunity that arose and then ran with it. And now he's, you know, Mark Wahlberg, right? He's one of the most successful actors in all of Hollywood ever. Yeah. So it's also one of those things, like people can get those same opportunities and it doesn't go anywhere because they don't put in the work. It's
I call him my mentor now, but you know he's become a really good friend. And Gunnar Peterson, if you don't know who he is, he works for F45 and he's our chief athletics officer, and he's helping curate the next chapter of F45 on like a programming scale. And it's like, for me, that's super exciting for the future of F45 because he is such an inspiration to so many people when it comes to fitness. And like you look back and you see his posts and you see who he associates now, and you're like, well, he trains people like Tom Brady, or he trains people like, all the Kardashians and but he's trained these massively influential people. I actually got to meet Sylvester Stallone through him, which was fucking so cool.
That's amazing.
And one of my childhoods, but one of my
legend. Yeah,
God, it was so cool. We were walking and I was like, why is my heart beating so fast? But you don't look at the backstory. I'm with him a lot, and people are like, well, I want to be training that. I want to be doing that. And I'm like, well, Gunner's done this for 40 years. Like, he didn't just get in the game all of a sudden one day and the Kardashians came up and trained him. Like, he earned that right. And but again, like when you see his posts, you just see him train these people, but you don't see the thousands of hours of work he's put in to get all the accreditations and the topics that he speaks about. It's fast results, and I learned so much from that guy.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, you learn so much from that guy, and what I respect most about him is just his experience and the effort he's put in. He'll come in and we'll train when we go on work, like these work tours and events. Like, he's up at 5 doing his cardio for an hour and he's lifting weights, and he is like, don't miss a session with Gunner. Like, you are going to get recommended. Like, the man is on it. Like, you missed a session this morning and I like joked about it. Yeah. He would have not texted me and made me feel bad, and it gave me a life lesson on why like responsibility showing up at that time is so important to like people that he cares about. Especially people that are counting on you.
Yeah.
So, you really let me down, but I let you off this time.
Well, I guess it's balancing out the scales because it's a little tipped in my favor right now, actually, from how much you've let me down. Just on the topic, Gunner's out in Nashville.
Yeah, he's in Nashville now.
Yeah, so you're coming out.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be out there together. Yeah, we'll go train in his compound.
I'll get in around the 8th.
We can tag team at 45 and we'll do weights.
Let's go.
It'll be the best shape of your life.
Yeah. Casey was texting me yesterday saying, I told him, I was like, Cory might be coming out, and he's like, yeah, I texted him to come out and he never responded. It's been about 2 weeks.
Because he also missed my session too. I got to teach him a
Oh,
lesson.
he did? Pulling a Gunner. No, but you should come through, dude. I'm trying to talk Will into it.
Nashville's so epic.
It's going to be a good group of dudes. Yeah.
What was it? It's like the Bachelorette capital of the world.
It's the number one Bachelorette. Yeah.
Have you ever seen it on like a Friday night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My buddy did his bachelor party there.
Really?
So it was literally like one group of dudes and 2,000 groups of bachelorettes, dude. It was wild.
Wow, he's doing this on my last, my birthday.
Best city for live music, too.
Oh, yeah.
Your birthday? Yeah. Was that, dude, has it already been a year?
Oh, we're doing it again.
It's already been a year.
Yeah, we're doing it again.
Bro,
I think I'm going to make it a thing.
We did like a 60s, 70s, 80s, rock and roll, 90s.
80s themed costume party. And we had 40 people show up, like Axl Rose and all the classics.
Yeah.
And then we took a bus and went to like some of the most iconic, like the Troubadour and like Rock and Riley's. And
you could do Stallone.
Room, yeah. Oh, yeah, you could do Stallone.
Yeah.
God, anything for that
dude,
guy.
90s action films?
That was thinking that. Everyone's Arnold or...
or Sly. Oh, man.
Oh, so good.
Oh, dude, I'll just have to come in as Conan or something, dude.
Just come in as Kane, dude. That's a good promotional period for you.
Come on, bro.
Come on, man.
That sounds
good
good
at this
All
stuff.
I got to do is
Kane number 4.
Yeah,
wear my jeans and take my shirt off.
For someone who makes a living at promotion, they're pretty bad at it.
Oh, burn.
Wait till you see what we do at Kane, and then
I believe it. I actually
Wait.
the comment.
In December, maybe.
specifically December 1st.
What
For 18 minutes, it'll blow your mind.
Speaking of further dates, what do you got in the pipeline?
It's like day by day. Sometimes you get
Nashville?
a call. Yeah, Nashville is definitely next. I think we're doing a couple workshop for trainers. We just did one in Houston, and now Gunnar and I go to Dallas. We do like a trainers workshop. So we got like 80 trainers that come out from all over the area.
Very cool.
And then there's a couple more domestic flights, and then it's South Korea, and then Dubai are the next two big ones. South Korea, Australia, Dubai.
Sorry.
You breaking stuff?
Oh, yeah. Just
Dude,
kidding, thanks.
that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
That's a lot of amazing cities.
Yeah, South Korea. This is the second time in South Korea too, which
That's
is
awesome.
still wild to think, and then the fourth time in Dubai.
How is it
Hell
in
yeah.
South Korea? Or like,
South Korea is, you know what? It's hard to describe. Like, I'm trying to think of my initial thoughts of what it was, because it's a new territory I've never been, but it is very westernized. Like, I was actually shocked how easy it was to figure things out as like an American. But I mean,
Wow.
English is a very well-spoken language there.
Mm-hmm.
But what's admirable is the discipline in these classes. Like,
yeah.
these people are coming.
Koreans are
It
the
is-
most impressive
We were there
group
in
of people.
We were there in masks. Like, I was there a year ago. Everyone was in masks, and like putting me in the dust with training. Like, just absolute insane work ethic. And it's like, I wish I could be there for 6 months, because I wonder what type of person I would come out of there.
That's fantastic.
It was
the
insane.
culture,
I'm
right?
excited to come back. Yeah, and I know
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's like, it's your family's name, so you want to live up to.
Yep.
I'm a huge
Which is
fan
cool.
of South Korean cinema.
Are you really?
Yeah. They have a model that emulates Hollywood pretty much, and
Really?
like, they're big on like
It's-
awesome blockbusters, and it's very.
It's beautiful landscape. I didn't expect like the landscape would be. They've got like a couple hours outside, like the main town is like beautiful untouched beaches, and it's just so clean, and the food's so good. The barbecue's insane.
Oh, Korean barbecue,
It
baby.
is
Yeah.
insane. It is
Dude.
insane. Yeah, so I'm excited to go back. Good people. We've got a good network out there. So yeah.
That's cool, man.
And then where can people find you?
Well,
Like,
I live in West
online.
Hollywood.
yeah, your address. Give us your address.
I mean, yeah. If my social needs a little work, but yeah, it's Cory G _, and then it's kind of the same platform for all the other same name for all the other platforms. But
Perfect. I'm sure you have way more followers than me, so it's fine.
that's right. if you want to really see what I do, come check out F45.
Hell yeah.
I literally just type it in to Google, and I'm guaranteed there's one in driving distance from where someone is.
Yeah, they're
Hell
everywhere. I'll be in a random area, and I'm just like, in a
Is it
different
F45?
state, and I'm like, F45.
And when I
Killing
went, I went to India for a month, and that was like, this is the real deal. Like, you go up in these like 15th story buildings, and there's an F45, and you're like,
That's
what is
awesome.
this? How is this possible?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dude.
India was another story, another time for another podcast.
Hell yeah. We got to have you back.
Yeah, for sure.
Anytime, brother. Dude, we appreciate you coming on, and thanks for letting us be your first podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That was fun. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys having me. I had a good time today.
Yeah, we know you got to hurry and get to your Dungeons & Dragons game, so.
Well, I stay true to my commitments. When I say I'm going to do something, I do something.
Yeah, nice. I'll see you at 4 then. 3 or 4?
Yeah, well, and the comedy club.
You want
that's
to do it?
still
It's
available.
8:30?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down.
I'm pretty sure I have a +1. Yeah.
Brock gets a +1.
Do you drop them? Like, do I drop the mic?
It's like all day. Yeah,
How do I
right.
end
Just
this?
do it. Just like throw it
What's
off.
the, and do I walk
That's
off?
$900.
Walk off.
Yeah, just, what are you wearing? Underwear right now?
Soto, dude, the best thing in the world. Skies out, thighs out.
It's
Five
true.
or six of us.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I can't stop looking.
What's the point of training legs? If you got good legs, just
That's
pull
true.
it out.
Can't stop looking.
But
Just like that. I just wait.
Thank you very much, Cory. It's a pleasure. Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.